Hello and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
Colin Cunningham. Why do you sound like that, April?
I'm just trying to be a good radio host.
Oh my gosh.
That
Is this a radio?
falls apart instantly, like 20 seconds into doing the podcast every time.
And I'm here talking about Crimewave, a Sam Raimi movie.
Late night radio voice that you have.
Yeah, turning into like,
we're all here and we're ready to have some fun.
Do radio hosts even sound like that anymore?
you're going to like turn into Eric Bogosian from Talk Radio or something.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I don't get that reference. So Crimewave. What year did this come out? 91? Oh no, this is 80s.
85.
85.
I think.
Not to be confused with the Crimewave that also came out in 85, directed by John Pace,
Yeah,
Canadian
you know what?
director.
We saw that movie when we were in New York last year.
That's
You
right.
went
And
all
I
the
was
way
like-
to New York to see Crimewave?
No, we were there and we
Okay.
saw that it was playing at the Spectacle Theater in Brooklyn, and that was good. Now that's a weird movie. I would rather watch that again than this. But anyway, I would, if you can get a copy of that, check it out. I think it's like out of print. The other Crimewave.
Yes. Wait, what? Crimewave. I got suddenly distracted by the sound of alarms. The crime people are coming to get me. No, both movies, I believe, are still available in print. Crimewave was recently remastered by, like, Winnipeg University, I think.
Yeah, the Canadian
And the
one.
other Crimewave, Sam Raimi's Crimewave, the one we're talking about today, was put out by Shout Factory a while back.
Oh, okay.
that's
So,
right.
yeah. So, for those of you who are curious, like I guess we were, you can watch this movie. And it was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. This is my choice. I was trying to fill the gaps in my Sam Raimi filmography.
Colin was like, Crimewave's the only one I've not seen, except for Love the Game and Oz the Great and Powerful. Wait, have I seen The Gift?
And the new
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
went to see
Multiverse
Doctor
of
Strange.
Madness.
Not good.
Well, of his old movies, I'd always like heard about this, and there was a YouTube video. I think the channel is In Praise of Shadows. Did a video on
think
this
so.
last year. And I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen Crimewave. I've always like heard about it. He sort of talked about the behind the scenes and what a disaster it was.
Well, this movie is like a Island of Dr. Moreau level of the story of making the movie is
Yeah.
more interesting than the movie.
Holy crap!
So
was it
look up
ever.
that video if you want the full lowdown on everything that went wrong. And I mean everything.
which was everything.
Well, basically what ended up happening was Sam Raimi coming off of The Evil Dead, a film that took months to film and complete with his friends, was given some money, and he... I mean, it's not all his fault, but it's also like he was very ambitious with the stuff that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he had producers that didn't understand what his vision was, actors that were fighting against him, a cinematographer that supposedly moved sluggishly when it came to putting the movie together. And the fact that there's anything entertaining about the film is a miracle, pretty much, even though that Sam Raimi has essentially completely disowned the entire
He's disowned
picture.
it, yeah. I think it was taken away from him, and
Yep.
the producer, Norman Lear, by the way, who owned or was the co-owner of like Embassy Films, that whatever. So yeah, that's a weird pairing. So they took it away from them in editing, and I've watched the interviews with like Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, and they kind of blame the producers for interfering. I don't see that there's any way to fix this movie to make it
No.
to make it
I mean,
if they
work.
got to edit it.
Yeah, I don't see it
it
becoming
still
anything.
feels like their hands are all over it.
For sure,
because,
yeah.
one of the villains is basically dubbed by Sam Raimi the entire film.
I knew that wasn't his real voice.
No.
Wait, Paul Smith, you mean?
Yeah, Paul Smith, who played Bluto in Popeye. It's
Yeah.
like Sam Raimi who's doing his voice most of the time.
I had read it was like a local wrestler. Like
I heard that too, but someone's like, or maybe he's doing Brian James. I know that his voice is all over the place.
It's just, yeah.
The most annoying voices in the movie, but we'll get to that.
guys, what's going on?
Oh, my
no!
God almighty.
It's the
Bonk,
worst.
bonk, bonk.
Boing.
That's how I described the movie to April, like as we were watching it. I'm like, this movie is pretty much just...
Would this film be funny if they had been able to cast Bruce Campbell in the main role?
I think it would be better. Although I do like him in the
Ronaldo
Rico
the heel.
Suave guy.
Yeah, actually, he provides one of the kind of consistently funny characters in the movie.
He's funny.
He's really
and he's
funny.
barely in it, obviously.
Because the producers were like, all right, kid, you don't know how to make a movie. You only did one, The Evil Dead. We can't cast this nobody in the movie. So
Yeah.
how about we get a big star like Reed Birney? Everybody loves Reed Birney.
It was practically a nobody as well. Like, who
So
was
he
this
is
guy?
supposedly huge on Broadway now.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
He's won a Tony Award for his performance in The Humans.
Wow,
Wow.
cool.
Wow.
I don't know what the
In
humans
this
is,
movie?
but Tony.
Not good.
Yeah, it's,
No, I mean, he is doing like the best that he can
Sure.
with the material. I would never accuse him of not giving it his all in this role, but I don't really think he was the right fit. I don't know.
I can't accuse anybody of not giving it their all. They all seem to be trying, and
They're all
seem to-
miserable. They're, like filming it, they clearly were horribly.
Yeah, they did all
uncomfortable.
nights. They shot on the streets of Detroit. It
was
It
freezing.
was
machines
freezing
going
outside.
at all
It was
times.
freezing inside in the interiors because they didn't have heating in the warehouse that they were shooting in.
Yeah.
like I would freaking lose my mind if that was me.
That is one of the most miserable things. I've been on set a lot, and just being on set when it's cold and you're outside, or even just inside and it's cold, nothing will make you more miserable quicker than that.
Yeah, if you're on the crew, at least you can like wear a parka. But apparently, like most of the cast was like wearing coats, like in the role,
Yeah.
like because
But
they're so cold.
you get cold real quick, even if you're wearing a parka. It's
Yeah,
And
I
it
know.
sucks. It feels like time goes on forever.
it's your-
and when the
it's your
director's like,
fingers.
all right, let's do a second take, you're like, do you need a fucking second take? Let's just,
No,
like,
I do.
don't
I
care.
remember I was filming some sketch comedy with Emily, and I guess you were probably there, Justin, just at the park near your house. And I was wearing like full coat, like winter boots, everything. And after a certain point, my toes got so cold. I
It's
was
your
like,
toes.
I need to go home. So I ran to your apartment and I left everyone behind.
It's always your fingers and your toes.
yeah,
Nothing
I was
will be more
losing
cold.
it. So these poor people.
Yeah. They probably didn't have those hot shots back then.
Also, they didn't have Hot Shots Part 2? Now that's a comedy.
Those are like thermal packs that you like
You put 'em
stick
in your shoes.
stick in your feet.
I think that's a good example, speaking of Hot Shots, to compare that style of comedy to this, is that Sam Raimi's definitely coming from a Three Stooges inspired vein,
Yes.
but he doesn't have the same kind of like light touch that it needs to be funny. It's like very heavy in its style a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
And I would argue that at the end of the movie, by the time we're at this like car scene,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now it's a horror movie, and so it's fighting like these two tones.
There's so many different tones.
I've watched this movie like probably half a dozen times, and I go into like a trance state by the time the car chase comes out. I'm like, I'm just so over this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too much.
It is too much.
and
yeah.
that scene lasts a really long time.
And which,
the end scene.
it's a strange thing because the car scene is fantastic. Like it's really, really good. And it's going to be my favorite thing for sure because of just how fucking dangerous it looks.
And then you find out that like people almost died shooting it. Like that's not good.
Yeah, so that was one of the things because they had just come off of Evil Dead, like you said, but it was just all their friends and they'd never worked with unions before or stuntmen. They didn't know that, you had to use stuntmen or you couldn't
They
just
probably
have
had
the actress like
no
get hit by a
safety.
car.
They
or-
had people literally standing on moving cars to get shots.
It
I
looks
mean, there's
so-
a lot of rear projection
There is.
in that scene as well.
There
Okay.
is, but the wide shots are the ones that you're like, holy shit! Like, someone's climbing out of a window on top of the car, then jumps across to the other car. You're like, oh my god!
It's just kind of like, oh my god, like for this movie, like people went through all they did for this movie.
Yeah.
And the climax, you were saying that it's the only horror sequence, April. It's also the only set piece that's scored by Joseph Loduca. I can't say his name. Loduca? Yeah, the composer of The Evil Dead. They wanted him to score the whole film, but he was scoring it seriously.
Right.
And the producers were like, no, we need a comedy score, which is, that's not how you do it.
it like combined with the actual tone of the movie, and then you add on. Oh my god! It's like constant.
but it's like, is that not what they were going for?
Yeah, like Three Stooges, kind of, but obviously they had a different idea from the get-go.
You can't. You have to there has
Like
to be
Evil
an
Dead
ebb
2
and
is
flow.
not scored like
You can't just have it at 100. The movie's going 100, and then the music on top of that is 100.
You did the song from the other Crimewave.
Yeah, I did. Boing, and these like sound effects, everything is this boing, wow, ricochet. It's like Jesus God.
Which can work, but it just doesn't in this.
It's just like a sundae
case.
where you just load it up with every single topping you can.
I mean, the film is also butchered. It makes almost no sense.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, wait, what's happening now?
Well, I didn't know if it was just me, but like the first 15 minutes, I have no idea what is going on. Who is anybody? I can't understand a thing anyone is saying. I was going to say we need to turn the subtitles on. So I still am not quite sure. Yeah, it just says boing at the bottom.
Cartoonish sound effect.
I'm not sure who killed who and for what and why, and I'm just piecing it together from what I can.
I had to watch it again today to kind of figure it all out. But I didn't even know that the intro is like with the lead character about to be executed. I didn't even know that was the same actor later in the movie.
It doesn't even look like him.
That wraparound was only shot to clarify things after a bunch of test screenings.
Which is insane because they really didn't need that.
I think it makes it worse.
Yeah, I
do too.
Yeah, there's multiple flashbacks within that opening scene.
They keep going back to him, and then we keep jumping back into the flashback
before we finally settle, in the past.
It makes sense in retrospect that was a studio note and a reshoot, because it's such an odd choice to start your movie with, oh, well, then this happened, then this. Who is anybody? Who are any of these people? Like, start it with him working, as a lonely guy, and then, that's all. That would have been the perfect
That's all you
start,
need. Yeah. I think,
There's nuns that are racing to go save him before he gets electrified, one of them being Frances McDormand.
Yeah, I was looking for her, and I could not see her. I think
probably in the back.
Maybe she's on the left with the glasses on or something.
Because the Coen brothers co-wrote this movie with Sam Raimi, because one of the Coens was an assistant editor on Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is kind of insane. But
why?
Well, just because they're so prestigious now, and they're appearing on camera.
Sam Raimi's gonna have to make another Simple Plan to prove he can be just as good as the Coen brothers.
Well, you know what? I haven't seen a Simple Plan, and I think I should give it a watch sometime.
It's good. I saw
that. It's an earlier Raimi, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, you wouldn't even know it's directed by Sam Raimi when you watch it.
That was around I saw the premiere at TIFF, and Sam Raimi was there. He did a funny. I think I mentioned.
Hey, buddies, how's it going?
Yeah, he did.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, he did. He did a pratfall on stage.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I wish there was more of that in the movie.
I think I'd mentioned it before. He did a pratfall when he came out on stage, it was at Roy Thompson Hall too. It was very prestigious. I think it opened the festival as well.
And he was like, "Vote for Trump!" And you're like, "Oh no, Sam, come on."
No, he did the gag from Spider-Man 2, where he's like, did anybody lose a wad of $500 bills with an elastic band? I have some good news.
I found your elastic band.
Hey! And then I went.
And then he grabbed the back of his head and did a front flip.
And then I went.
Yeah. It's funny. The interviews that we saw of Sam Raimi, just from that video, he never mentions the term live action cartoon.
Yeah.
That's clearly what it is, but it's I'm not even sure if that's what they had intended. So
definitely.
Well,
I think so, yeah.
It's the biggest version of the Three Stooges, because my favorite thing in this movie is right away there's a guy that appeared in many Three Stooges shorts, Emil Sitka, who's most famous for going, "Hold hands, lovebirds," in the famous Shemp short. And he was supposed to be the other Stooge, but then Mo died.
Wait,
it didn't happen.
So who is he in this?
He was a guy at the beginning. He goes through the doors. He's like the old man as they're walking down out of the house. There's not much of him, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like him. I just like seeing Emil Sitka. I don't know if he goes, hold hand, lovebirds. I think he does say it in Scott Spiegel's Intruder, which he's also in briefly.
Intruder, was that the what was that? The grocery store one?
Yeah, the grocery store.
Oh,
that was actually really good.
I was I recommend that.
Yeah.
Because that's a movie that Sam Raimi produced, right?
Yeah, that's directed by Scott Spiegel, his very good friend since high school, who is most famous as the guy who tries to eat the slice of pizza in Spider-Man 2. Oh. And then Spider-Man's like, "Hey!" And then he yanked it out of his hands.
He also has 6 roles in this movie.
Does he?
Yeah, I think he's in this movie multiple times. So is Sam Raimi. So are the Coen brothers. To the point
the producers
where
had to be extras.
apparently the producers got really mad because they'd see the dailies, and it's like, don't put Scott Spiegel in any more roles, because all the actors like were quitting or wanted to go home. So like Sam Raimi and the crew would just like play the characters. And yeah, Raimi I think shows up like 3 times. Scott Spiegel a number of times, but yeah.
Well, the main guy in the movie who's engineering the murder plot that kicks things off is one of the producers of the film, Edward R. Pressman.
No.
Not an actor.
Oh my
Is that,
God.
are you serious?
Yes,
Wait,
the like guy with little glasses. He's one of the producers of the
Mr.
movie.
Trend. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
So the film starts right away, and you're like, what did they do to my boy? They massacred my
they made
boy.
a mess of my boy, Raimi.
Where it was supposed to start with this wild, crazy shot that goes up out of a building and then slowly zooms in on the hand of Mr. Trent as he's like tapping something.
Yeah.
And instead, they just start in the shot and they then cut to a close up of his hand.
Yeah, no, they push all the way down. He's like
No, they don't. There's a big cut.
Oh, is there really? Okay.
Yeah, there is.
They go down quite a way, though, right? He's got those matches that he's banging against the table.
But the joke is supposed to be that it goes right into a close-up, like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
And they'd cut it.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Hitchcock was an influence on this movie.
Definitely Rear Window.
Well, like also maybe like The Man Who Knew Too Much, like, you know,
Well, and
regular
just
guy gets
stylistically, the way
swapped
the
up.
cameras move and stuff like that.
It's very, it's that, but you can totally see Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead 2 stuff in this.
It's
Like,
very ambitious, and
is.
for
It's a
somebody
lot.
who is so young, like it's their second movie, right? The style is unhinged, and you got to at least give it props for that.
yeah, no, it's very well executed, I think, you know, but it just becomes too much.
But not funny. It ain't funny.
Definitely not funny. It's got that Sam Raimi kind of corny Three Stooges.
This makes me realize I haven't forced you guys to watch Steven Spielberg's 1941 yet, have I?
I've seen 1941.
I haven't seen it.
Well, next December, it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, really?
It's also 2.5 hours long. Imagine if Crimewave was 2.5 hours.
I wouldn't.
God.
I couldn't. I'd have to split it
Yep,
up into
that's what that
two.
movie is. So back to Crimewave. So basically the plot is there's a businessman who's losing his business, so he decides to hire exterminators / hitmen to take out his business partner, and then complications ensue.
Yeah, his business partner wants to sell the business behind his
To
back
Bruce Campbell.
to Bruce Campbell, who wants to turn it into was it a girly review? Yeah, everything.
Doesn't he because he smokes a cigarette and animated turns into a woman dancing.
Yeah.
Like the only real instance of like magical realism in this movie, I guess.
It's very much like
of.
right out of a cartoon, but it's
well,
so
it turns
funny.
into a cartoon.
But like they never state what year this takes place in. You know, you see 1970s cars, but it feels like it takes place in the 1930s or 40s.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Everyone talks like, you know, hey, how's it going there, Dame?
I think that's just how Sam Raimi talks.
I think so, yeah. But he takes all those
Hey,
sense.
buddy boy, how's it going, buddy? Hey, buddy.
There is when he's there's a scene at the
Make
beginning.
America great again, buddy.
There's a scene at the beginning where the main character is getting dragged off to the electric chair, and you can hear from off screen, and I'm sure it's Sam Raimi. It's like, "Come on, Pipsqueak, we're saving a seat for you."
Yeah, it's definitely Sam Raimi.
And it
100%.
sounds like the bad guy from Army of Darkness when he turns into the skeleton. Like, whoa!
Probably also voiced by Sam.
I'm pretty sure he was. Bruce Campbell plays Ronaldo, the heel.
And he's great.
Yeah, Mr. Trend finds out that, you know, his business partner wants to screw him, and he calls these exterminators that he finds in the Yellow Pages.
We kill all sizes.
Yeah, but they're not these. I really didn't like the exterminators.
What do you mean? You don't like Brian James, the master of accents?
Yeah, Brian James is so annoying, and the other guy. Yeah, I know. Oh, God. He's like, it's like, let's anthropomorphize a rat, and I think that was what they were trying to do. And unfortunately, he was on a ton of cocaine at the time, so he was just nonstop.
Yeah, apparently he destroyed his room in a cocaine rampage.
Yeah,
his hotel
during
room.
shooting.
And then we have Paul L. Smith, supposedly another actor. Man, this cast. Paul L. Smith and Louise Lasser, not easy people to work with.
Yeah, apparently
Who
everyone.
is Paul L. Smith?
Paul Smith was Bluto in Robert Altman's
right.
Popeye, but he was also in Dune as well. David Lynch's Dune.
Yeah, he plays one of the guys. He's also in, I guess he was in a bunch of Dino De Laurentiis films, which mean he ended up in Italy. He's also in the film Pieces, like the really banana slasher film, as one of the red herrings. He's like the gardener in the film.
Oh, okay.
He is like a good physical actor. Like the stuff that they have him doing, is great. He put himself in great danger.
His voice.
To be in this movie. It's
I don't
not
know.
him.
I don't know why they dubbed his voice. It
Yeah.
sounds absolutely terrible.
How does he talk?
He
He's
sounds like Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, yeah, how you doing?
No.
what are we doing here? Come on, guys.
It's
I
so
can't do
bad.
it. He sounds like this, kind of.
Like we're trying to talk through my teeth.
But I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. It just
Because it's funny, Colin.
Yeah, but
That's why.
they have him never shutting up, and it's the thing that's like they do. It's like they're dubbing an anime or something. It's like, well, the character's back is turned. Let's just have him saying more and more and more. It's like, this character should never say anything. That should make him much more scary.
There are
but
mo-
it's not
They're so
supposed to be scary,
terrified
I
of
guess.
any silence that they're like, everyone always has to be throwing jokes off screen
but
the
there's
entire time.
tons of shots of Bruce Campbell and other characters where you can clearly see their mouths are not
Yeah,
moving.
and then they're
They're just like
dubbing.
motor mouth, like, hey, baby, what's going on? Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you say we drown a couple of olives?
Well, what about
Well,
Louise
I like
Lasser? 2 years removed from her tour de force in the greatest Thanksgiving
Blood
slasher
Rage?
film ever.
Blood
Yes.
rage.
And I was commenting, I was like, she looks exactly the same. She's like wearing the same outfit,
Well, she
the
does
same
her
hair.
own makeup. That's what happened. That she's like,
that
I
could
know how to
be
do
it.
my own makeup.
That's
and they're
probably
like,
why.
oh my God, it's horrifying.
So yeah, Bruce Campbell said that she was on a cocaine rampage and fired her makeup artist and did it all herself, and the crew would make fun
Yep.
of her because she looked like a clown.
Well, also, there's
wasn't on
a
cocaine?
connection because Ted or Sam Raimi is in Blood Rage as a cameo.
Oh, Ted very briefly as a condom salesman. Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, they knew each other, or that there's some connection there. But
That's the sign of a great movie.
I also
when you see Ted
like
Raimi.
exactly, and he's in
He's
this.
not. I didn't see him in the new Doctor Strange.
That's
Really?
insane. That's
Yeah.
insane to me.
You sure he didn't do like a voice or something?
What about the-
I mean, he probably did a voice.
What about
but I
the
want,
car?
Like, Ted.
Is the car?
Yeah, it's definitely in there. Yeah,
Oh, it
yeah,
is.
the
Well,
car's in
then
there.
Ted's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's got to be in there,
I,
right?
well, I guess this is like the first instance of the classic showing up, like in the background of a movie that's not Evil Dead.
Ted
This is
Raimi
the
should
beginning.
have showed up as his character from Xena. That would be a great multiverse crossover, right, guys?
I hate to break it to you, April. They only visit 2 universes in this multiverse.
So there's
movie.
no Xena in the new multiverse of madness?
No, there isn't. You know what
Oh.
does feature Xena Sword? Wes Craven's Cursed. Check it out. The climax takes place at a Hollywood wax museum prop thing. That's a movie for this podcast. Wes Craven's Cursed.
Sounds fun. We haven't done a Wes Craven yet.
I'm
Although we did
shockingly-
almost do Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh boy, I feel bad. I don't know much about Wes Craven movies other than Nightmare on Elm Street.
There's a lot that
Oh,
you
he's
probably
a
haven't
really
seen.
good director.
I know I haven't
Yeah,
seen
would
like People
highly
Under the
recommend.
Stairs, Vampire in Brooklyn. Let's not talk about that.
Swamp Thing? That one's fun.
Never seen it.
Yeah,
that was good.
Red Eye.
What was the,
is a
uh,
later one that I actually really enjoyed.
What was the? Oh God, he didn't do Mr. Holland's Opus, did he?
No, you're thinking of Music of the Heart, the Meryl Streep film, which he directed, yes.
That's right. He could not do something that cheesy and heartfelt.
Time for my Opus,
Mr.
bitch.
Holland's Opus.
All right, well, back to Crimewave.
Okay, so let's
I
talk
mean,
about our main character's story. What's his name?
Vic.
Victor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is, like I said, lonely guy. He works for Mr. Trend, right?
He installs security cameras.
Right. At first, I thought that this whole company was just security cameras, but no, it's like an appliance. Like
They make doors because there's that big
Yeah.
door room.
Well-
Oh, no, I think they're a security firm, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, it's like
yeah, that's what it
it's
is.
like a Canadian Tire.
Odegaard Trend Security.
I'm just laughing at no one's gonna get my Canadian Tire reference.
I got it.
I mean, it's not much of a joke. It is.
It's just a store in Canada.
there is a place called Canadian Tire.
But yeah, so he, he runs into his boss who clearly just did a bad thing, and he says, like, what does he say? You got to look at the big picture or something like that, and you should go out and get yourself a girl. So that motivates him to fall in love, and he essentially falls in love with the first woman he sees in the lobby, which this lobby is in this movie so much.
Yeah.
It's a major set piece.
Yeah, this is a funny gag. This made me laugh out loud. When
Might be one of my favorite parts.
He sees the girl getting hit by the car outside, and his tie flies up. Whoa! And he's like, "Oh!"
Like a Bowery Boys movie.
That was quite. Yeah, but it doesn't fly up in a cartoony way where it's like stiff. It's like all wavy, like it's being blown up, like with wind.
But there's like a storm going on through this entire movie for some reason.
Yeah, that was an odd choice. I mean, it does.
Because it's funny.
It's not funny, but it does create atmosphere.
April is one of the producers. Sam, it's not funny.
Sir, it's not funny.
Put that boing boing sound effect in there.
Yeah. And
No, make it louder.
the sound effect of the
Sam
the
Raimi,
wind.
I did not know that Darkman had been recut by the studio, and Sam Raimi and his editor like snuck in right before all the prints were going to be struck, and he recut the movie over one night, and it was too late for them to go back to change it.
That's
afterwards.
hilarious. You could only do that back in those days. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
And it was a big hit, so they were angry, but they couldn't really be angry for that long.
Yeah, they were angry, or they're shaking their fists full of money at him.
Full of money, yeah.
I mean, Darkman, great movie. That is a
classic.
really good example of Sam Raimi's style doing comic book movie before he got Spider-Man. So it's kind of like this like dark but fun, but also kind of superhero-esque.
It's like cheesy, in all the right kind of Sam Raimi ways.
Yeah.
What is it about Sam Raimi that producers are constantly wanting to take the movies away from him after he gives them like massive successes?
Well,
Sam Raimi did Spider-Man 2, but let's tell him how to do it.
That was
Spider-Man
Avi
3.
Arad, asshole.
Bad man.
They're always wanting to rein him in, and he's not the type of director that should be reined in.
Well-
even though when you look at this movie,
Yes.
yeah, but as an adult, he was just a kid back then.
I know, but I think I like any kind of director, and he's one of my favorite directors. But when he's left to his own devices, I think this movie is a prime example of when he kind of embraces all of his worst tendencies.
Yes,
it can just be too much.
Yes,
and I think it just needs a balance.
I mean, I thought even Army of Darkness was too much at points.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. It's every
Get out of my house.
It's every 30 white male in their 30s favorite movie.
Is it?
Yes,
I was there first.
I've met
It's mine.
multiple people who said it's their favorite movie, and I'm not saying I don't like it. I do like it. I only saw it for the first time.
There
last
are
year.
times where it gets a little corny. Like,
I like corny,
that's
but
Sam Raimi's modus operandi, being corny.
Do we need the Three Stooges gags in the cemetery? You getting poked?
Yes.
And,
That being
all
said,
right.
but if you take like a
Do you guys just want me to reenact Army of Darkness for you?
if you look at a movie like Drag Me to Hell, which I think is great, it
not a
doesn't
big fan.
have like Three Stooges gags in it, but it
I feel
still
that
has
the
silliness
problem with
though.
Drag Me to Hell is that it's an interesting kind of like slide Sam Raimi was taking, where that kind of creativity I like from his early films is starting to be seeped out of him. That he starts to do the stuff that's recognizable,
Right.
Like, but he's not creating anymore in the way he did with like Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness.
You feel like he's just sort of rehashing the old
Stuff,
classics.
yeah.
Well, maybe he
Yeah.
just doesn't have any more innovative ideas.
I think I really liked Drag Me to Hell. The only thing I didn't like was the CGI. That was so out of place.
I agree. And it
poorly
would have been
done.
much better if it was practical. But
Yeah.
at the time it was made, they were not going to give him the budget to do like the Void style effects. Like I wish they did. But this bad CGI kind of makes
he
it funny.
couldn't get the money to do the Void style effects.
He was coming
Well,
off
you know
of
what I mean.
a film that costs like 1/100th.
he'd come off of like Spider-Man 2, hadn't he?
Yeah,
I think it was after
Spider-Man 3.
He made it after Spider-Man 3.
So like
yeah.
3 huge money makers, like, he could do whatever he wants. But I actually appreciated that he went back and did like a smaller movie. Like, George Lucas always says he will. Peter Jackson always says he will.
They never do.
And then Drag Me to Hell makes no money, and Sam Raimi's like, I guess I'm not making movies like this anymore.
It's true,
such a
but at
shame.
least he made it.
Yeah,
right. And then he does Oz
the best
Great
gag
and
in Drag Me to
Powerful.
Hell is her getting a nosebleed. Like, that's where she's like, oh, I can't stop.
There's so many good gags. I don't know. I kind of love that movie.
There's a lot of funny gags,
Every
but
time
also
I
like
watch it,
fun violence, I think.
I want it to be better. It's like
I know.
when they like get the they bring the demon in and the goat's like, ah, and it's like a puppet.
I
That's
fucking
awesome.
love that part.
It doesn't do anything.
It's
That's like
terrific.
the issue that I have with it.
I don't know. I just love how
It's
it
not
kind of-
perfect, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I love how just
I want Sam Raimi to listen to this. I'm holding his feet to the fire. Be better, Sam.
okay, Justin.
Okay, no problem,
Stop.
buddy.
And, like,
hey, you want to be in my movie? You want to be the star? I'm going to torture you.
I'm not
You're gonna feel so much
I'm not
pain,
a Sam
Justin.
Raimi expert. You guys are much more knowledgeable than me, so I apologize if I'm offending anybody out there with my opinions. But
I don't think anyone is going to
your
come after you.
opinion.
the film bros are they love their Sam Raimi.
darkness, bro.
They love they love their Sam
These
Raimi.
jock bros. Like, how dare
you
make fun of the Three
Stooges? Hey, wait a minute.
Okay.
If you disagree with anything we say on this podcast, you just take that, write it on a piece of paper, you crumple it up, and then you eat it. Internalize
And
it.
put it
You'll
on
be a better
iTunes.
person out of it.
There is a funny. They keep cutting back to this storm that's happening outside. They keep showing the same kind of intersection, throughout the entire movie. It does look like a backlot, but it is a real location.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the way it's lit.
I think it's the way it's lit makes
Yeah.
it look like backlot.
looking.
But they have this like this like newspaper, front page of a newspaper, like smacks up against the screen, and in like one side of it says something about, it's like a reference to Evil Dead. It's like a time distortion at the murder site in like a Tennessee cabin or something like that.
Oh.
Blah blah blah. So it's like, oh, all right.
So in the movie, our hero is still pursuing this woman who he's like, I need to fall in love, so I'm going to stalk this woman until she loves me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they end up at a club where a dance is going on.
It's like the Coco Bongo Club from The Mask.
No, it's
Exactly.
like the jazz club from Spider-Man 3. Like, exactly.
It's like the jazz club in Steven Spielberg's 1941, where there's a big musical number.
I can't wait to see that movie.
Yeah, but all those movies, whatever. Okay, I was going to say.
They're all great.
Yeah.
That's all we need to say.
Well, this scene has a lot of great gags, and the best kind of, I believe, humor in the movie is in this scene.
Yeah, well, it has the best gag, which is like Bruce Campbell is having a date with the woman, and he ditches her and leaves without paying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but then he picks up another woman and then goes to the coat check, and then he's putting on like a top hat, and then I guess the coat check girl's looking at him for like a tip, and he
Yeah.
kind of searches his pockets and he goes, "Hey, I've got nothing," and he just walks out.
But no, like, this might be, I was just going to say, like, I guess, like, Bruce Campbell in this scene is probably, like, my favorite thing in the movie. Like, where he's flirting with the other girl at the bar, and he's, like winking at her, and there's, like, gun sound effects happening and stuff like that. Like, that's ridiculous
Ooh,
and
yeah.
funny. And also, our hero, like, I can't remember how, but he like falls on that table and it just like goes everywhere.
Campbell
He gets punched by Bruce
Oh,
Campbell,
right.
and he like flies 90 feet in the
It
air
is
and lands on the
so
table.
funny. You can tell like he is thrown from quite a distance from off screen.
And there's like so many people sitting at that table, and it's like a real table, and they were like the producers of the movie.
those people, Scott Spiegel again,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, and I think Joel or Ethan Cohen.
And then they just kind of like go back to their
Scott
their business
Spiegel, the
after.
director of From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, Hostel 3, and Modesty Blaze.
Yes, that's the one.
Texas Blood.
Wow!
Wasn't Bruce Campbell in the second one?
Only at the beginning in a movie within the movie. He's not actually like a main star in From Dusk Till Dawn 2. That movie is fun. Most famous for having the most point of view shots in any movie. Of like, if someone is opening a lock, the camera's going to spin with the lock.
Was that like a
Weird.
Guinness World Record?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's a Guinness Book of World
What a
Records.
strange claim. It's just like,
It has so many point of
Oh,
views.
my
Like, if
God.
you took a shot every time there was one. I mean, I remember I have a friend who hates Scott Spiegel because he's like, there's a scene in Intruder where he goes and he answers the phone and you're looking through the phone. I hate it.
Oh, I love that shot. I
love
remember
that.
it to this day.
yeah, that movie really. I was like surprised at how much I liked that.
And
movie.
also, like, that Fear Street movie, I was like, this is a reference to Intruder. Probably not, but it looked exactly the same.
Oh, when the person gets their face sliced?
well, just
Is that what you're
there's
thinking?
all these like, gruesome things happening in a grocery store that looks exactly like that. But I mean, and maybe it's just a coincidence. But anyway, there's another funny gag in this scene where, lady, can't remember her name.
Nancy,
she decides to have dinner with Vic, and then she realizes, oh no, he left me with the bill and I can't pay. I owe $36. How am I going to pay this?
Oh, it's like $36 and something like 67 cents.
We're having a dance contest. The winner wins $36.
And 67 cents. And then they're like, are you ready to do it? And they go and they start dancing. And then it cuts to them washing dishes.
But he's like dancing as he's washing dishes, to the point I actually didn't understand the joke at first. I was like, what? Oh.
Colin had to close the television. He's like, April, let me explain it to you.
When you can't pay a bill, you have to wash dishes. That's why
that's a classic,
it's a very old,
unwritten rule.
Old-timey gag.
Yeah.
Has it ever happened to anybody?
Never.
In
ever
in
has
our
it
lifetime.
ever happened to anyone.
No, I mean, if this was like in real life, she would just go up to one of those rich bozos and say, "Can I borrow $36?"
No, what would happen is they're like, get out, don't come back.
Or that too, yeah.
Yeah.
You're banned. I tell you, banned.
And while this is going on, our favorite characters, the two hitmen, what are you doing?
Oh, God. They're torturing Louise Lasser, basically.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because they murder a guy, the other business partner, and then I think they murder the person that hired them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
by
her-
accident,
Her
I
husband,
guess.
she's watching out the window with binoculars the entire time, and the husband, to appease her, goes down to investigate the scene, and he's also accidentally murdered by Brian James.
These guys are just murder crazy.
Yeah, and then they see that she's witnessed it, so Paul Smith goes after her. He runs up to her apartment.
And
this-
then they just keep killing people because they're witnesses, I guess. But they're taking so much glee in it. It's just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
But there's a funny gag, and it's set up right from the beginning in like a wide shot of Louise Lasser's apartment. There's 3 bowling balls on a shelf, and you know
Yeah.
exactly where that's going.
That's right, because Paul Smith comes crashing through the door, which leads to a bunch of shots of Louise Lasser throwing objects at him.
Yeah.
And the camera's following them, and the classic Sam Raimi shot, like,
Yeah,
it's
the
like
classic
spinning in front of
style.
camera.
Like,
and there's a great gag where he like catches one of them in the air and then he smashes it over his head.
yeah, I mean,
That's funny.
it is funny. It's just like
bonk,
in a different
bonk.
movie, it would be better.
Yeah,
You know
if
what
it
I
was
mean?
maybe like spaced out a bit more, if it wasn't just so 100% the entire
Also,
time.
like, it does kind of strike me as like a movie that like I would make as a teenager. Like, we know what would be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
funny if
Let's
this,
put
if
everything-
this happened and this happened. Yeah, without any kind of thought to tone.
I think more movies should have everything in them, as opposed to having nothing. Like most of the movies we watch these days.
it's true. It is better than nothing.
and this managed to cram everything into less than 90 minutes.
And by
Yes.
an hour in, I'm like, ugh, I'm bored. Too much.
It's true, but I mean, thank God that this movie was only 90 minutes long.
Yeah. But this-
Louise Lasseter runs into a room that has a bunch of doors, and that's like the most famous scene in the movie, and they all get knocked over like dominoes.
And
Yeah.
like the guy has to run back through the doors,
And he's
he
crashing through
gets
the doors,
crushed,
yeah.
and apparently that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, they
he was
mistimed
supposed to
it.
make it all the way through.
yeah, and he trips and falls, and like they land
like
on
was
him and
that
stuff.
him or was that a stunt man? Because it looked
Probably a
it looked like
stunt
a guy
double.
wearing a wig or something.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they
Although
wore a
he's
wig
bald.
for Paul
He's
Smith.
bald. Yeah. No, I swear, it's something like that.
there is- there's-
Louise, it's weird that she actually gets taken out of the picture like earlier on than you think, because she like jumps out of a window and lands in a box that's like being shipped off somewhere.
Well, you think she's gonna be a main character?
Yeah, and she shipped the guy shipping her off in the box, Sam Raimi.
Yes, it was to Uruguay, and it's like a freaking gag.
You are gay.
It's like a Bugs Bunny gag. It's like literally a Bugs Bunny
Yeah,
gag.
she shows up in the after the end credits.
Yeah.
If you stick around that long.
So she's like, haha, I got you. Oh no, I'm in a box to Uruguay.
Yeah, then like Paul Smith is attacking her, and then like this neighbor comes out of nowhere with like shaving cream on his face. They
I
get
don't
into
get what happened with him.
he jumps so
Why is he so happy?
I don't know.
When he died.
Oh, because
That
he
he
didn't
dies?
die.
Yeah.
So he jumps out the
Oh,
window.
okay.
Paul Smith like lures him out the window, and he like crashes down, lands on the street, and he's like, "Oh my god, like I'm alive!" And he's like laughing, and then
he gets
Brian James
run
runs him
over.
over with the exterminator.
So that's
car.
why he's so happy.
Yeah. Then they've got his body. They're trying to like dispose of. There's all these
Yeah.
bodies.
It's a bit of a French farce, if you will, but especially earlier when they're like the doors opening and closing, and
Yeah, the cops are coming
know what
up,
I'm
and they're
talking
just
about.
all trying to get rid of these bodies and blah blah blah. Just hijinks, just wacky hijinks. What was I gonna say?
Well, there's the hijinks of Vic. It brings Lady home because she got mud on her dress, and so he's like, "I'm gonna wash your dress," and she's like chilling out, and then like Brian James like sneaks in and is like being creepy and like inappropriate.
Well, Vic is like, "I'm not gonna watch while you change," so his eyes are closed. So he doesn't know Brian James is there, and then Brian James.
I mean, it leads to a really funny gag where he's like, "I hear there's a murderer out there," and Brian James is like, "Oh no, there's a murderer out there."
Also, Brian James can throw his voice like Munchie.
And he can do anyone's voice.
Yeah,
too.
it's so weird. It's like not established.
Like Munchie.
I'm almost ready.
There is one funny fucking gag that Paul Smith is chasing Louise Lasser down like a fire escape, and Bruce Campbell is just arriving with his date that he picked up, and he's kind of like, "Hey, why don't you come back to my place for a scotch and sofa?"
And she gets really upset.
She like slaps him and leaves, and then the fire escape kind of unfolds and extends right into like Bruce Campbell's face, and it's just like, you know, the two frames of like, it's just a rubber mannequin.
Yeah, being squished.
He just like squishes.
I don't even remember this. And
It's so
I
fast.
vividly remember it.
It is
happens
so
very
fast.
You know why?
quickly.
Because I was fixated on the scotch and sofa line. Because I was like, that's not even that insulting. Like, why was
I
she
would be
so
picked
upset?
up by that.
Yeah. How about some scotch and sofa? I actually think that's kind of funny. So, and charming.
And what about the
Do you?
maybe
You
I
think that's
maybe I just
charming?
like this character. I don't know.
drown a few?
You're a big Ricardo the Heel
He
fan.
is my favorite thing about the movie.
You know,
so.
if Bruce Campbell came up to you and said, "Hey, what about a scotch and sofa?"
What are you
April?"
going to say? No?
Yeah.
You're like, you're much too old for me. Is what I would say.
What do we drown a few olives, baby?
Yeah, I would do that.
Come down to my best best hotel, Holiday Inn that I'm staying at this convention. We can rock that mattress.
I'll introduce you to Darth Maul.
He's in the. We're sharing a room. Save a couple bucks.
You think they make them
Hey,
share?
how's it going? It's me, Darth Maul. I was a karate champion.
They make them share rooms at the convention.
Yeah, they do.
No.
Yeah, certain ones probably. Yeah.
No, to save on
Hey,
time.
and they're all the Best Western.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they're the hotels that the convention is in, so you know it's
So you
attached.
think, you think it's like they leave those are the good rooms. They leave them for the convention goers, but then all the guests go to like the Hojo down the road. They have to share rooms.
Yep. And what wacky combinations you get. Oh no, Hercules is with Data from Star Trek. What wacky adventures are they going to
It
have?
would be more like,
Linnea Quigley and Chewbacca Mom.
yeah, like that's more like who
Chewbacca
it would be.
Has she made a comment yet about the gun violence? I remember her doing that
Oh,
one.
there was a great picture that somebody posted. It was right after she like became a viral hit, and it was from a convention, and it was Chewbacca Mom. She was sitting next to John Cusack.
Oh boy, I bet he was thrilled.
He looked so.
Oh yeah, John Cusack is the guy who could take a
Oh, he
joke.
looked so miserable.
Oh, poor John Cusack doing the convention circuit.
Oh my god. Sitting next to Chewbacca Mom.
I wonder what Chewbacca Mom, and then like right beside, he's like sandwiched between Ken Bone. He's there too. Anyway,
Wait, who's Ken Bone?
he asked a question
Oh,
during the Trump Hillary debate
Him and Joe the plumber.
5 years ago. You can get him on Cameo for like $20.
Oh god.
I gotta check out who's on that cameo.
Do you think Chewbacca Mom's on Cameo?
I honestly don't even know what
I think
she did.
she probably
She went
was.
through drive-thrus in a Chewbacca
No,
mask.
she just had a mask of Chewbacca, and she opened it up, and it made it laugh, and then she laughed. Oh my god, it cost $65
What?
for a cameo from Chewbacca Mom.
No.
Yes.
That much.
Come on.
Well, I mean, it is because it's Chewbacca.
I could get like Steve Martin for that kind of money.
Did she do a Chewbacca voice?
No, she just laughed.
She just laughed. I know.
That's all
is
she did.
this
You
woman?
guys have not seen the video?
No, I
No.
didn't click on it, you know.
Oh, she's wearing the Chewbacca mask, and when you open the mouth, it makes the Chewbacca sound that caused her to laugh. And that's it. That's all that the video is. The video's 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
And then she got like a call.
Jesus
Hey, need an
Christ.
agent? It's like, you're going to put you up in this convention. You're going to be sharing a room with John Cusack.
Anyone's on Cameo these days.
Oh,
Okay,
my
so
God.
does anything happen before the big car chase?
Brian James gets attacked by dogs. He drops like a homophobic slur.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Not
What is
cool.
this, Jingle All the Way?
Yeah. Did not expect that.
Yeah.
But then he shows up at the end anyway, so what was the point of him getting attacked by those dogs?
You know, this car chase, it's kind of fantastic.
It's like half an hour long.
It's really, really long.
And the thing that really was getting me after a while is the Nancy screaming, constantly screaming, and that's where I was like, okay, it's like a horror movie. Like every 2 seconds, she's screaming at one of them about to get her or climbing on top. And at one point, you know, Vic is in another car and he has to like jump over to her car, and they're both moving, and he's stuck in between.
He's getting like hung across it like there's like short round in like the Temple of Doom minecart chase.
Yeah,
and it was just, oh my God,
it
crazy.
was creative, but it was just it's too much, and it was giving me anxiety because it was like it just went on for so long.
Yeah, it did. It was like I don't know. It was like the end of like Road Warrior or something. It's like a third of the movie.
And the stupid like other bald guys just like the whole time, and other guy. And he has his big electrocution thing, and he's gonna.
There's a fun
electrocute
joke
him.
there where it's like rats, humans, hero. He like turns the knob
Yeah,
on thing.
there's like a little like dial on his electrocution thing that says hero at the end. That's funny.
That was a funny
That's
joke.
cute.
Yeah, lots of explosions here, and apparently they actually did damage to the like highway infrastructure.
It's like still there to this day.
Yeah, and you can see they said the scorch marks from the fire were there for years afterwards, and they were like not allowed to shoot in Detroit for over a decade apparently.
That's it. I'm surprised they didn't get a lifetime ban. But they're like, well, we really want you to come back because we want some money to come
Sam
to
Raimi did that Spider-Man.
We love money.
Come shoot Spider-Man 3 in Detroit.
Detroit. We were just talking about Detroiters. You know, not enough like movies
RoboCop
seem
in this
to take place or shoot in Detroit. I'm sure plenty do, but we probably don't always know.
I'm sure a lot of things are shot in Detroit.
Oh.
Is that like a cover of like the New York Post or something there, Colin? Transformers: Age of Extinction ends in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Michael Bay
Yeah.
bringing it home.
So yeah, there's the car chase ends. The car's like teetering over the edge of like the river, Detroit River. I
They're
don't know.
fighting with giant pieces of metal.
They're fighting with like electrified metal.
At this point, the exterminator bad guy is just ripping the car apart. Why is he doing this?
I don't
Just
know.
because he's so insane with
it's
the
funny,
rage of
April.
killing that he decides to rip metal off this car and torture this poor woman because he's just evil.
Yeah, he just
And,
likes.
really the lack of motivation for all these characters is just a little much.
It
for
just makes
me.
him happy. That's all.
Do you watch the Three Stooges shorts and you're like, what is the motivation behind
I
these
understand.
characters?
Why is
those.
Mo so angry at the other two?
Mo is their leader.
He must have had some childhood trauma.
Why can't they get that block of ice up the hill? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, like I was, she's just in the car screaming for half an hour, whereas she could have got out at any point.
Yeah.
She's just screaming while it's going back and forth and back and forth. And so bad guy goes into the water, and then
Car comes down on bad guy.
she needs to jump out of it onto Vic, who's like hanging from the guardrail. She makes it up, and then it like weirdly cuts, and then you find out later that he fell and she thought he died.
Yeah, it goes back to the beginning in the
They
execution
like cut
scene.
something out there to go back to this later shot wraparound.
Yeah.
So it just kind of made it confusing.
So he needs, I don't know, the nuns arrive and he needs someone to corroborate his story.
Those
but
nuns are on the run.
the nuns, oh my God.
Back in the Habit, you might
Oh
say.
no! Was there a sequel?
Yeah.
No way.
Sister
Yeah,
Act,
Back in the
Sister Act
Habit.
2. Not to
No,
Nuns
Nuns
on the Run.
on
Oh
the Run.
God! I thought there was Nuns on the Run too. Don't get my hopes up.
Yeah, people could not get enough of Eric Idle and who's
Robbie
the other guy?
Coltrane.
Robbie Coltrane.
Oh yeah,
Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch.
I've actually never seen Nuns on a Run.
no, me neither.
Really? I saw that in the theater twice.
I just know the title.
Twice.
Twice.
Back in the day, Nuns on the Run was the Marvel movie of the season.
Well, A Fish Came Wanda came out, and then A Fish Came
Fish
Wanda?
Called
Fish
Wanda.
Called Wanda came out.
People had Eric Idle fever.
Yeah, everyone was like, whoa, British fever. These Monty Python people. And then, Nuns on the Run came out. I was like, oh my God, it's hilarious.
The Fish Called Wanda's pretty funny.
Love that movie. That was a classic.
I like it quite a bit.
What about Dangerous Creatures?
Never saw it.
Wasn't it Fierce Creatures?
Fierce Creatures.
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
saw that. That was a Blockbuster rental, and I just remember thinking, like, well, this isn't as good as Fish.
No,
Called
it's
It
not.
Wanda.
looked absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
But isn't the same director and the same stars?
think
Yeah,
it's everything.
It's everyone's back, but they're
Yeah.
playing different characters.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened
I mean-
before?
They're like a Christopher Guest
yeah,
movie.
definitely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. But like,
Oh, did you hear they're making another Spinal Tap?
No.
yes, they are.
Yeah,
No.
they are.
Yeah. 'cause
No.
Oh, me and April are up on our Talking
Oh,
Simpsons podcast.
no.
Just came out this morning.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, because they're all still alive. So
They had
They already did, and people don't remember
Was it Break Like
They did
the
like
Wind?
a tour.
it was the
yeah.
Break Like the Wind tour.
Yeah, I remember hearing of it.
God almighty. Wasn't that like a TV movie or like a...
Yeah, it was. It was like an hour-long TV movie.
bet
I
it was
mean,
terrible.
I like those characters, so
They're so old.
You just
Yeah, I
you
know.
can't...
Do you think Harry Shearer will bring the thunder? Like,
no,
my
but he
God.
was
What a
always
funny guy.
he was always barely a character anyway.
Oh my God.
You know,
I don't
it's
know.
really about the other two guys.
I don't have high hopes for that
No,
one.
I don't either. Let it die.
will Billy Crystal come back? He was in the first one, right?
So is
Yeah.
Dana Carvey.
oh yeah.
Who's Dana Carvey?
He was one of the mimes. I think
Oh, right.
Billy
Was he
Billy
the-
Crystal
he was
was
the
like
other
yelling at
mime,
him.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like, come on, mime is money.
It's a funny movie.
The funniest joke Billy Crystal ever said.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a Billy Crystal film he directed?
Yeah,
that
Mr. Saturday
stars-
Night.
No, not Mr. Saturday Night. Oh, coming soon.
My-
You know
My
that shit gets
Giant?
bad. No, did he direct My Giant?
I don't know.
No, he recently directed a film, and I couldn't believe it co-starred Tiffany Haddish.
Whoa.
Really?
He's doing
Came out in
movies now.
2021,
Yikes.
and it was called Here Today.
I've
That's
never heard of
surprising.
it.
Is he in it?
Yeah, he stars in it. It's like a
Wow.
movie that never existed.
Wow.
But if you go home, your dad would be like, "Oh, it's my favorite movie."
Well, the last movie I remember him doing is, I think it was something called like Grandparents or something, and it was him and Bette Midler, I think.
Oh my God.
And it was like
Grandparents?
they were grandparents, but I don't know if that's what it was called.
Is that what you think of movies? That you're like,
Yeah.
it starts superheroes. The superheroes.
The premise was they are babysitting their grandchildren.
Yeah, parental guidance is what
Oh.
it's called.
Close enough.
I've never heard of this movie.
No, I
Billy
just
Crystal,
saw the trailer.
Bette Midler, and
Isn't
Marissa Tomei.
Tomei is the mom?
Poor
Yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
I saw the trailer and it's like, she's like a helicopter mom and only lets her kids have like frozen yogurt, and the grandparents are like, have some ice cream, and they're like
And then they're
freaking
like-
out, and they're like, oh my God, this is not like yogurt at all. Great comedy, right?
Oh my God.
Okay, we gotta wrap up this movie. So let's get to the wraparound segment.
It's the execution. The nuns show up. They've all taken a vow of silence, so they
Oh,
can't corroborate
no.
his.
Will
his
they
story.
break it, though?
Yes, they do, and it cuts.
It
to-
is kind of a funny gag where it looks like he's about to get executed, spinning newspaper, hero executed, and then they just pan down.
almost
Or not. Yeah, almost. Yeah.
nuns break 40-year vow of silence, and Vic and Nancy are
kinda
married.
And they cut to them like at their wedding.
I think it's just a photo of them. Like
No, it goes to live action, but
Does
they're
it?
just like waving.
Oh.
It's like a Harry Potter picture. It's like,
Yeah. Then it ends with like a.
Yeah, it's like a Harry Potter picture. It's
know
like,
what I
we
mean.
hate trans people.
yeah.
J.K. Rowling is
I
terrible.
know. I shouldn't make any more Harry Potter references, but can't help it. It's part of the culture.
Is she like
It's part of the
Beetlejuice? She's gonna
culture.
show up if you mention it too many times.
Anyway, the movie's over.
That's Crimewave, everybody.
Ooh. And then there's a song. There's a song that is explaining the plot of the movie.
It's like a 1930s like kind of jazz number or something. It's like a duet.
You and me, or like a hat on a hat, or something
like a
that.
pack full of rats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam Raimi singing it with Scott Speed.
Probably. Gotta get in one last cameo.
Even that song is like annoying. It is.
It is. It's a lot to get through this movie. I'm glad I saw it.
I'm glad I saw it too. I don't regret watching it.
Next up, For the Love of the Game, which will make you think fondly of Crimewave.
I
Love of the Game stinks.
I could not think of anything more boring to watch than that movie.
A baseball movie.
Another one that you're like, did Sam Raimi direct this? Doesn't feel like him.
Hello, Sam. Oh no, it's Scott Spiegel.
Hello, hey buddy, come on, man.
And like Sam Raimi, was he like off screen, like throwing like books and stuff at
like Kevin Costner?
Well, I would argue that like the Spider-Man movies definitely have like his stamp on it, but it's not as pronounced as something like Darkman or Evil
That's a
Dead.
good. They're a good balance, I think, to appeal to like a mass audience. You know what I mean?
But and fans of his style.
Yeah, for sure.
It's they're like the perfect utilization of his style for a mass audience. Now, if you want something that is a little more, uncut, then go for something like Darkman.
Yeah, that's Sam Raimi, full on Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And if you want somebody playing Sam Raimi cosplay, check out Doctor Strange of the Multiverse of Madness.
I can't comment on it, but I probably will.
I mean, you guys will see the movie. Don't lie to yourselves.
I'll just see it because I want to see some the cameos, but I have absolutely no interest.
I hate the cameos in the movie. They stink.
I should really just look up a list of them, but there's no Xena.
One of them you'll be like, boo.
Well,
Xena is not in this movie, even though it would make perfect sense if Xena showed up.
Right?
Because, I don't think Robert Tapper produced this, though, and he's married to Xena these days.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
But there are good things in this movie. So if you're a Sam Raimi fan and
a completist,
if you're a Sam Raimi completist, I would recommend it. But otherwise, I would say stay away.
Yeah.
And where do we watch this?
Where? It was on iTunes.
It's on iTunes, so you can rent it for probably $5.
Yeah.
In our home. That's where we watched it.
It's $4.99. It looked like it was the restored version.
It was remastered.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got to be on Tubi, right, though?
I don't think so, but
no?
I didn't. I think we just went straight to iTunes.
Yeah,
but
we want only the best.
Yeah, but that's Crimewave.
Nope, it's on Tubi.
Hey, there you go.
Really?
Tubi.
Right, there you go.
Which is like, why aren't more people talking about Tubi? Everyone is like canceling their Netflix. It's like, I just watched Tubi. It's got it all.
Yeah, watch Tubi, owned by the Fox Corporation, and the evil one, the one that does the news.
I know, but like, look at the selection, you guys.
Yes. Take my money, Satan.
But they're not getting my money because it's free. I'm not paying them.
Yeah, that's right. Free. Sign on the dotted line.
Well, if you want to email the podcast, we're at nosuchthingasabadmovie@gmail.com, and we're on Twitter at nosuchthingpod. And if you like what you hear, consider donating to us on Patreon. We're at patreon.com/nosuchthingasabadmovie. And if you're on the $5 level, you will get a little bonus episode every 2 weeks. And we just recorded them on the new movie from the Disney Corporation. We're just shills for Disney, aren't we? We watched the Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie and had some very interesting thoughts about it.
Do you know that Tubi does original films? They did a Suicide Squad ripoff starring Bruce Willis.
Suicide Squad.
Yep.
So it's like a asylum type thing.
Yeah, it's like supervillains and.
Okay, well, I'm probably not going to watch that, but good to know that it's there.
Sorry, I just looked up Bruce Willis and the news 9 hours ago. Bruce's wife shares video of him playing basketball.
Oh. I mean, I will say about Tubi, like, hey, that's the only place that has all of the original Sailor Moon in Japanese with subtitles. And again, like, you don't have to pay for it. So, like, something like that, they have it, that's great.
And hey, guys, you can download things off Tubi very easily using all sorts of websites and or apps that will skip all the commercials.
Really? Okay, that's good to know. And if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at April Admansky.
You can find me on Twitter, DeclouJ, DECLOUX, the letter J, or every week on the Important Cinema Club.
You can follow me on Twitter, Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA.
And that's it for this week. You heard our thoughts on Crimewave. Also, maybe check out the...
Now go do your own Crimewave.
No.
Maybe check out the other Crimewave, the Canadian one by John
Pays.
Starring
the actor looks insanely similar to Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister.
Yes.
He does.
He does, which is very funny. If you want like a weird independent Canadian movie, check that one out. It was fun talking about Sam Raimi this week. I'm April Admansky.
I'm Justin DeClue.
And I'm Colin Cunningham.
Oh, we're back to the smooth voices.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.
Hey, what do you say? Let's drown a few olives, baby.
Let's drown a couple olives.
We're gonna have a scotch and sofa.
Hey-oh.
Scotch and sofa.